Alright guys, welcome back to Coach's Kitchen. We've got episode 3. Just pumping out episodes today, man. First 3 episodes of the series were all made in the first day. But before we get into it, I'm actually going to give you a little bit of a tour of my kitchen. So we've got my little dining room area. Nice painting. My mousse over there. The protein shake that we made in the last video, actually still working on that. Got, just some cupboard space in there. A little dish rack. My stove and oven combo. Showed you guys this in episode 1, but if you didn't see it, I got a little picture of my team from a few years ago. Just some family and friends on there. And then a pretty sick magnet collection too. This is just some magnets from different places that I've traveled to over the last couple of years. And then it continues down here too. But I've been pretty blessed the last few years to really be able to do a lot of traveling. So that's just something that I do, is kind of collect magnets from everywhere I go. Alright, so now we'll get into the video for today. It's about 9 o'clock p.m. Just got back from a run on the mountain. And it's been a pretty tough day as far as working out goes. So I need to get something good, nutritious, filling into my body. So I'm going to be making a breakfast sandwich, even though it's 9 o'clock at night. I don't care. It's delicious any time of day. So the first things we'll need: some eggs. Really doesn't matter what kind you use. I like to get the nice, organic pasture-raised eggs. They are a little bit more expensive, but those chickens are on a much better diet. And so you end up getting a lot of nutrition through the food chain there. You need some bread. I've got some Dave's Killer bread. Organic good seed bread. Any bread will work. But if you really want to try out some good bread, I would really recommend this Dave's Killer bread. Healthy, nutritious, and delicious. Got some cheese. I don't have any slices at the house at the moment, so I'm just going to use some shredded cheese, but whatever you have for cheese will work, no big deal. And then you need some kind of meat. So I'm using some Swaggerty's hot sausage today. I know that a lot of you don't consume pork, either for like dietary reasons or like religious purposes. And so you can definitely use whatever you have around. You really don't even have to put any meat in if you're, vegetarian, or you just don't feel like having meat that day. But this is the only meat that I've got in the fridge right now. So I'm going to use this hot sausage. This also works really well. Most red meats. Beef is super good in here. Bison, I actually just did this with bison a couple days ago and it turned out delicious. Or if you wanted to go a little bit leaner, have a little bit less fat in there, you could do like ground chicken or ground turkey as well. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is get everything prepped. So this is a pound of sausage. I definitely don't need a whole pound. I'm going to use about a third. So I'm going to cut off about a third. Boom. Take the rest, put it in my little Ziploc bag. And then pop that back in the fridge for tomorrow or the next day, or I don't know, whenever I get around to it. Probably won't be long. And then we got to get some of these eggs ready here. Maybe you guys have a better way to crack eggs than me. Maybe you could enlighten me on what that is so that I don't have to keep doing it like a caveman and a barbarian for the rest of my life. But I'm a little rough with them, man. I like to just, crack them on there, get that egg in there. So give it a nice hard smack. Pull it apart. Beautiful. I'm going to use all 3 of these eggs I have left. Oh man. And sometimes when you do like the big hammer smash like that, you do end up getting a little bit of shell in there. So I do see one big piece of shell. But guess what? Not a big deal. You grab a spoon, fish it out. Boom, good as new. No big deal. So I'm actually going to use the same spoon. Whip these up a little bit. And then this is what really makes a big difference for your eggs, is seasoning them before you cook them. So I'm going to put some pepper in there. Quite a bit because I love my black pepper. Some Himalayan pink salt, the good stuff. It's not processed at all. Has a lot of naturally occurring electrolytes for your body. And then you already know I love the garlic herb sensation. And to me, this is really what makes the eggs stand out from being like plain and bland and takes them into a beautiful melody of flavors right here. Alright, get the spices in there. Whip it all together. And we'll just leave those be for a minute. A little cleanup. Some nasty egg yolk. Or white or something. I don't know. Some sort of egg. Probably white. Alright. And then we take a butter knife. Spread some butter on this bread. Like so. And the reason that we put the butter on the bread is because we're going to fry it up like a grilled cheese. So when we do put this on the pan, the butter is what causes the bread to get all nice and golden brown. Really make it into a nice hot breakfast sandwich for us. Or in this case, a dinner sandwich. Like I said before, typically a breakfast food, but delicious any time of day. Alright, and that's pretty much it for the prep work. Alright, first thing I'm going to do now, get my sausage into the pan. The reason I'm putting the sausage in first, you guessed it, it takes the longest to cook. So I want to make sure that I get that rocking right away. I don't want to waste any in there, so you just kind of squeeze it out. And like I said before, I definitely want to be respectful to all my viewers. I know some of you do not use pork products. So like I said earlier, feel free to use whatever you want. Ground chicken, ground turkey, ground beef, bison, elk, venison, no meat, whatever you want in there. So we're just going to wait a minute while that gets heated up. I'm going to put some heat onto our big pan here. And then this is where we're going to put the bread. And then after the bread, we're going to get the eggs. Alright, so we're going to check in on our sausage here. You can hear it sizzling. So you can see how some of the meat is red and some of it is starting to turn like a little grayish brown. So that's how you can tell that your meat is cooking. When we start off, it's going to be all red or pink. And then by the time we're done, we want all this meat to be like a nice kind of gray with some brown on it. We want to make sure that there's no more red left inside because you don't want to be consuming undercooked meat because that really isn't good for you. So let's mix it up a little bit. You can probably see some different colors here from the bottom. There we go. That's the type of color that we're going for. So you just want to mix it, chop it up into some smaller little pieces so it's going to cook faster. If you wanted to make this into like one big patty, so it's kind of like a burger, that would be really good on this sandwich too. But for me, I'm just going to leave it loose because the meat's going to cook a lot faster that way. So it looks like we're getting pretty close on the sausage. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. I actually ended up shutting this pan off, so now I'm going to turn it back on. We're going to get the rest of this meal cooking. Don't do what I just did and touch the pan with your finger because it might be hot and you could burn yourself. A better way would be to just take your hand and put it kind of close and feel if there's a little heat radiating. So I'm going to wait till that heats up just a little bit longer. And then I'm going to show you what we're going to do with our bread here. Alright, so with the bread I'm going to do it one piece at a time. My pan is nice and hot, so I'm going to put down the slice of bread. You want to put the butter side down so that the butter is making contact with your pan or your skillet. You're going to grab some cheese and put that on the other side of the bread so it starts melting. We've got our sausage cooking here, and you can see that it's pretty close to getting done. So I turned it down to like a medium-low heat so that it just kind of stays ready for me. I'm going to sprinkle some cheese on here. And it would be a lot easier if you have cheese slices available at your house to just pop a cheese slice on there. But like I said, I'm going to use what I've got here. I want to make as few trips to the grocery store as possible because I really don't want to expose myself any more than I have to a possible contamination of the coronavirus. Alright, so we got our cheese. Bread's working on there. Alright, so I can see that my cheese is melting, but I don't really know if the bread is done. So there's two ways to check. One way is a little more risky and you need to be very careful. Would be that you just grab the bread, lift up. Oh my goodness, look at that nice golden brown. That's perfect. The other way to check would be to use your spatula, pick it up, and try to get underneath it and see what we've got going on there. Alright, so actually I'm going to leave that on for just a couple more seconds. Get a nice little crisp on there. Alright, bread's ready to come off. So the first piece I'm going to put here face down on my cutting board. You want to make sure that you use a clean cutting board. Second piece of bread is going on. Ooh, and you can hear it working there. And I'm going to do the same thing with this slice. We've still got our sausage here sitting on medium-low heat. Alright, so now I've got both pieces of bread ready to go. You'll notice sometimes that on the second piece of bread, the cheese doesn't melt as much. That's for two reasons on mine. I put a little bit more cheese on my second slice, but also the pan is a little bit hotter, and so that bread gets brown a little bit faster, so it gives that cheese a little bit less time. But as soon as we put the rest of the hot stuff on there, the rest of that cheese will melt right up. So the next thing I'm going to do is grab my eggs. Oh, and I need to put a little bit of butter on that pan first. Not a ton, just about that much, maybe, I don't know what that is, like half a tablespoon, something like that. Pop it in there. Oh yeah, we got a nice hot pan. Just going to work that butter around. Turn on my fan because it's starting to get a little smoky in here. I'm going to whip up these eggs a little bit, just make sure they're still mixed. And into the pan we go. And that's the sound you want to hear right away. Alright, so people have a lot of different opinions about how they cook eggs. So I'm just going to show you what works for me. Try to really get those things moving. Because I don't want one side to turn brown while another side's not cooking. So I just give them a nice little scramble. Make sure it's all mixed together here. Try to peel any of those pieces off the side. And I mean, like I said, people have different opinions about eggs, how to cook them. Some people like to leave them like a little bit wet. Personally, I think that's kind of disgusting. I want to make sure that all of the moisture and the liquid in there is like totally dried up, just to be safe, because you don't want to consume undercooked eggs. You know what I mean? Have any sort of bad reaction or something like that. End up getting a stomach ache or salmonella, food poisoning, anything like that. So I cook mine a little bit more than most people do. But now you can see there's no liquid in there. They're still yellow, but they're starting to turn like a little bit brown. That's how you know they're done. So I'm going to turn that off, check on our sausage. Oh yeah, that's what you want to see right there. Alright, so I don't see any red pieces, I don't see any pink in there. And one little trick is that if you do have some bigger pieces, you want to kind of chop them in half and that's how you can tell if it's done. If you chop the biggest piece in half and there's still some pink or red in there, then your meat is not cooked. I've got mine broken all into nice little pieces, and it's ready to go. So I'm going to turn off the heat there, and then I'll check back in a minute and show you how we're going to assemble this sandwich. Alright, so it's going to be a little tricky to show you guys with one hand. I'm going to do my best here. So I'm going to take my eggs. 1 second. Get this butter and knife out of the way so that I don't have some sort of an accident here. Alright, now I'm going to take my eggs. Just put the pan right here. It's not going to burn this cutting board. Pop them on one side. You could put them on both sides too. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to put mine on this bottom piece. Oh. Sorry, I don't have a film crew for my production yet. I'm just doing everything by myself. So I'm cooking and filming at the same time by myself here. So sometimes I might be out of focus a little bit. Then I'm going to take my meat, just put it right in here. And I'm going to scoop my meat onto the other side. Like I said, whatever meat you use, or if you don't want to use any meat, that's fine too. And normally what I would do is I would either slice up or smash up an avocado right now, and either like make it into some guacamole and kind of paste it onto the bread, or I would slice it up and just put the slices into the sandwich. But as you guys saw, I ate an entire avocado for lunch today, so I'm going to hold off on that one for right now. I'm going to go ahead and use 2 hands and get this sandwich together, and then I'll check back in with you guys. Alright, so you can see the finished product here. I'm going to get in nice and close. And look at that bread. Oh man, that's why you want to put some butter on that bread. Really fry it up and get it nice and crispy. We've got eggs falling out of there. We've got sausage falling out of there. It is a little bit messy, but to be honest, I really don't care. So I'm going to take my knife. I like to do a nice diagonal cut. Even though I'm just cooking for myself, I'm the only person home right now. It seems nice to have a good presentation on it. And for me at least, I always want my food to look pretty good. So I'm going to cut this, definitely use 2 hands, get it plated up, and then we'll do the final taste. Alright guys, so here we have the final product. Nice, beautiful sandwich. Man, that thing looks good. I can't wait to tear into the sandwich. And then a nice glass of chocolate milk mixed with some almond milk. So overall, this sandwich it only costed me about $3 to make. That tube of sausage was like $4. I used a third of it. So for you mathematicians, that would be about $1.33. That loaf of bread, man, I don't know how many pieces are in there. Probably like 18. Yeah, it was probably really only like 30 cents worth of bread. 3 eggs. So even when we're using those expensive eggs that are like $5, $6 a dozen, 3 eggs is 1/4 of the dozen. Let's see. So let's say it was $5. That would be $1.25 worth of eggs. Yeah. So as you can see, it really didn't cost us a lot. And a little bit of cost for the cheese. I didn't really use too much cheese in there. So this is a really nice, solid meal that you can make really cheap, really quick. It took me about 18 minutes to make this, but if I weren't filming, it would have gone a lot quicker as well. And now the moment we've all been waiting for, the taste test. Oh, wow. Wow. So the first thing I notice, man, that is finger looking good, literally. The first thing I notice is the bread. The way that butter gets on there. Wow. Nice crispy bread, melted cheese, beautiful scrambled eggs, some really nice spicy sausage. Adds a little bit of spice to the whole mixture. That's a success right there. So I'll be signing out because I'm about to pound down the rest of this sandwich. But I do want to say a couple things to you before I leave. First of all, man, I miss you kids. I miss you kids so much, man. Like, having you guys charge into the gym at full speed every day, you know, running up, giving me high fives and hugs on a daily basis. I'm sorry, I'm talking with my mouth full. That's so rude. It means a lot. And it's really hard not to have that. So yesterday was the day that it was announced that school was going to be shutting down for the rest of the year. Man, it's tough. It's really tough. It's tough for all of us. You know, not to be able to go see your friends, be able to see your teachers, go into your classes, learn. But I would really encourage you guys, keep learning. You don't need a teacher to make sure that you're doing your job. All right? You don't need a coach to make sure that you're working out. Each and every one of you guys, your teachers and your parents have taught you things already that you can be taking responsibility for your own lives. So I would really like to see you guys making healthy decisions. Please reach out to me. Send me an email, leave a comment, get in touch with me somehow. Let me know what you're doing to stay active and to stay healthy during this time. So for now, stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope I see you guys soon.